everybody, welcome back to the Shell Shack. So we have a quite a different video set up for this week. We've done a lot of magic pours in the last couple of videos, so we're gonna really change this up some, and I'm excited to tell you guys about this project. Sorry, I still got moving stuff out of the way. So I have this little baby seal mold, and what my thought was is we are going to create an underwater ocean scene inside the baby seal, and then maybe even put a light underneath of him so he can light up at night or something. So what I did is I went into all my goodies and I found several things. So I have a whole bucket of critters, ocean critters. Some I made, some I bought. Every time I go to our aquarium, I buy the little toy fish and stuff. So obviously I need to make another trip because I'm getting kind of low. So out of our ocean critters, I found this cool shark. So we're gonna put the shark in there, and he's gonna be kind of swimming up toward the head. And then I go to pet stores sometimes and I find like little aquarium plants and stuff, and I get them like when there's a sale going on or something like that, or if I need them I'll find them on Amazon even. And so I have these like little sea plants, and really pretty. They're purple. I thought that would look good with like some blue water, and I was thinking about pushing it up into the head area of this seal, and have it just kind of sit off to the side, kind of like that. But we'll be doing that in a minute. I also want to put like a treasure chest at the bottom, because of course you got to have a beach scene with a treasure chest. And so what I did for that is I broke out some of my UV resin, and we're gonna resin in some jewels. So I got all these little color beads, and we're gonna put in some of those. And I also have some of these little gemstones that we're going to put on top, so they'll sparkle in the light. And so that's going to sit at the bottom, so it's going to be everything's upside down and backwards. So we got to do the top and down to the bottom of the ocean floor. So everything's got to be backwards and upside down, if that makes sense. So that's going to go in there like this, but all the little beads and stuff will be UV resined in there. So that's pretty much my plan. Oh, and to do the sand at the bottom, because I remember I told you guys I need to go back to the beach and get some more sand. But I thought, well, we can do something a little different, a little unique with our bottom. I was thinking about mixing some of these bluish green beads, and I broke out my seashell box, but I also have a bunch of these little stones. So these are just like little jasper beads. And I have some tiger eye in here, maybe a couple of pieces of tiger eye just to mix it up a little bit. And I have like big pieces of tiger eye. We can really mix it up some, and maybe put a few little seashells on the bottom. So we're gonna have to do this in multiple layers, multiple stages. This would be considered a deep pour, so for most of it anyway, except for when we get right up to our little ocean bottom line, which I'm thinking is going to be right about the fin. So I kind of want to, let me put this in here and see if I did it. That'd be kind of, ooh. So I think we're going to have to go past the fin and maybe just to the bottom of this rim right here, right under his butt, where his body comes in and makes the curve. We'll make that under like the very last, like maybe quarter inch, eighth of an inch to a quarter of an inch. We'll do that part in the bottom, the ocean floor bottom. But that means that we're going to have to submerge our chest in there like this. We're gonna have to, obviously we're gonna have to get the shark in there, and we're gonna have to get our plant in there. So to do that, here's my thought. We're going to use UV resin. And that's going to hold all of our little bits in place where we want them to live. And I'm going to break out my little Let's Resin UV pen light. And so let's get started. Let's make up our let's design out our little treasure chest. So we'll do that. And then we'll start placing our items in here with some UV resin. So I'm going to put him off to the side, and now let's, this thing just does not want to stand up, does it? And I'm making sure there's no holes at the bottom of this, and there's not, so that's good. That would be bad. We put our UV resin in, it all runs out the bottom. That would be about how my week has gone so far. I hope you guys have all had a better week. And what I'm going to do is just get a thin layer of UV resin in here and sprinkle in a couple of these beads. And I think I'm going to go for golden beads and for the bottom part. So let's just sprinkle in, and I'm going to get like a little spoon. Maybe that'll make life a little easier, or maybe not. Maybe as we get more beads and resin in this, that this thing will hold itself up and not want to tilt on us so much. Okay. I'm sorry I'm crisscrossing over the project here, but my fingers are not very dexterous on my right side. So I'm just gonna cross over a little bit. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is hit this with the UV light for just a second. We want to get that set, and then at the end I'll put this in the Let's Resin UV lamp, and we'll cure this up for a good, you know, we'll probably put it in there for like 5 minutes and see how it goes. I don't want any of this resin in here to still be tacky or runny or anything, because this is going to hang upside down for quite a bit while the deep pour sets up.
Soft waves kiss the shore at twilight. Birds sing in the cool sweet breeze. Sunset paints the sky in fiery light. Peaceful beach where worry cease. People lay back, feet in the sand, relaxing, letting time stand still. Coconuts and salty and grand. Nightfall whispers a soothing chill. Gentle breeze carrying the night. Stars twinkle.
All right, and we're back. That was a little extended hold for on my end, not for you guys. But what I did is, after thinking about this, this is going in upside down, and because of this, you know, this void right that's going to be in our lid, I went ahead and I put some UV resin in here and cured it. That way when this goes in upside down, there's no way for air to get trapped under this. So I went ahead and did that. I figured I would do that, might as well, you know, while I had you guys paused. So now we are ready to start placing our little doodads. And oh, I did pull out a piece of, this is just blue painter's tape. And just to make sure that my mold is completely free of any hairs or anything. I have kind of long hair. And if you guys notice, if any of you have long hair or whatever, that you shed. And so yeah, my dog shed, my cat shed, and I shed. So always cleaning out my molds and stuff before I use them. And it's little pieces of tape, and then I actually just stick it to my little side wall over here, and then I can reuse it until it loses its sticky. All right, so now we're ready to put in our plant. Now what I think I'm going to do is I got out, this is just UV dip resin. It's basically clear hard type. It's just in like a little container, and it's a little thicker than the UV resin we were using earlier. So what I'm going to do is take a cotton bud, static cling, and I'm going to put a couple of drops of this dip resin on here. And you can use regular resin for this, or regular UV. It doesn't have to be this dip resin. I just happen to have it, and it's a little thicker, a little easier to work with. And I'm going to put a stick on here, I need to go off to the side just a little bit and hit it with my UV pen just to get this on here. And there's a reason for me doing this. There is a reason, I promise, I promise. Okay, I just want to make sure. You don't need to go very long. I'm just making sure that my stick, it's not going to fall off with gravity. And just kind of getting the light underneath that little stick. And so now that's good. And we're going to put I'm going to basically stuff this plant down into here. Now there is a risk that by doing this way we do get bubbles. So I'm thinking, do we put the resin in here first and then kind of dip this in some resin? We might do that because these little leaves will collect little surface bubbles on them. You know, it's an underwater scene. A few bubbles aren't the end of the world, but I still don't want these just totally occluded in bubbles. So especially with all these little stems and stuff. So we'll put this off to the side. And then our treasure chest is going to go in like this. So we need to do the same thing, put our UV, actually I'll just use my regular UV resin just to show you guys it does work. And plus I could do it one-handed. The other thing I have, it's a container that I have to open. Okay, if I can hold the stick in one place. And then, okay. See, I would use glue, but I'm afraid like eventually these sticks are going to have to come off. So I don't want to use anything too permanent. So that's why I'm just using UV resin for this. Okay. And what we're going to do is prep our seal for our deep pour resin. Okay, because this is a little heavier now that we've filled it with little gemstones and stuff. So I want to make sure this is really good and stuck on there. So now, when I sit it in there, it'll sit just like this. And I don't have to worry about it. So we'll take him out too and sit him off to the side. And now we got to figure out where our shark is going to live. And I think our little shark can live kind of like that, whereas the head of the shark is actually going to look like it's swimming up the head of the seal. That's kind of cool. So what I'm going to do here, this is a little wonky, so forgive me here. I'm going to try to get this all where you all can see. I'm going to put a little drop. Now I think I might actually use I ended up putting drops down into the seal. We don't want to do that. If you guys have not tried playing with UV resin, I so recommend it. You can do so many things with this stuff. It's so much fun. It's a little, sometimes it can be a little finicky, but once you get the gist of it, it's pretty fun. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I think, is I'm gonna take my dip resin because it is thicker. I'm going to put it on his little fin. Now when we put the deep pour around this, you're not going to see these little drippy drops. And a little on top of this fin. Oh, and I may have not needed all of those. But now what I'm going to do is hold that down in there. I think I need a little bit more UV. Okay. Need a little bit more. I'm just trying to get around that fin where I know it's going to hold, because I don't want my shark floating and doing weird things. I did that one time. I put I think it was a turtle though. I put a turtle down in one of these one time and I walked away because everything looked good. I walked away from it and, you know, In the next hour or so of it curing, the turtle managed to dislodge and float upside down in my piece, and it looked like I had a not so healthy, happy turtle, because I don't want to say the D word. I had a poor turtle in my piece that wasn't doing too hot, and I was like, this, oh no, it's just not gonna work. Okay, now I'm just gonna, that's pretty secure in there, so now he's in there. Make sure our chest can still fit, because I could still dislodge this shark if I need to. Yep, I think the chest can live right. Yeah, we'll put him right next to there, and then the plant will go up into there. I think we're okay. So there we go. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up this deep pour, and what I'm using, and I'm just going to show you the small bottle. This is the Let's Resin epoxy resin for deep pour. This is a 2-to-1, so you do 2 parts of A and 1 part of B, and this stuff takes like days to cure, so probably won't be able to share this video with you for a while after I make it anyway, because it'll have to cure for quite a while. But I'll got some other stuff in the meanwhile. Don't you guys worry. Don't worry. So I'm gonna get this mixed, and I need to put it through the vacuum chamber because I really want this to be as clear, crystal clear as possible, and then I'll bring you guys back. All right, hang in there. Alright guys, welcome back. And I've mixed our deep pour resin. I did about 16 ounces of deep pour. That may be too much, but with this stuff I'd rather, because it's a 2-to-1, I'd rather go a little over and maybe make an octopus out of the extra if we have extras, but I'd rather do that than not have enough. And I want to add some of the Sigwang water blue. This is we used this in our last project and it was very pretty. I'm gonna go for 5 drops, and I am very carefully mixing this. And if I had a sense about me, I would have done this color mixing before I put it in my bubble remover. But and you saw I put a clip in there of the vacuum chamber that I use. It's very satisfying to see the bubbles all come up and then disperse. It's kind of cool. 2, 3, 4, 5. Do 5 at a time. Because our seal is about the same depth as this cup is, I can normally I would have a paper towel and you put it on your paper towel and you see what your color is really going to look like. But because the seal is about this depth, I think what we can pretty much look through the cup and see if we have enough blue. Now I don't want to go really like super blue. I really want to stick to like just a hint of blue, because I don't want to obscure all of our little details inside. Okay. I think I'm going to go just a few more drops of blue. 3, 4, 5. So that's 15 drops so far. And this is alcohol ink, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that, but this is just alcohol ink. Okay. And it seems to want to collect around the sides, so you see me scrape my sides, which is good to do anyway with any resin. It's good to scrape your sides a lot while you're mixing. Just trying to be very gingerly about it because I don't want to add any more bubbles. Yeah, so anyways, back to the vacuum chamber. It's very satisfying to watch all the bubbles come out. So I figured I'd bring you all along for that. Normally when I use the 4-hour Fast Cure, it's a little bit longer process because it's so much thicker. So I don't bring you all along for that because the videos are long enough as it is, but this one was very satisfying. I couldn't help myself. Okay, that looks good. That is about what I want. Just a hint of blue. It's like a greenish blue, very oceany, very water blue color. Okay. And so I think we decided that to get this plant in properly, that we were going to dip it first. So we're going to dip our plant into this resin, not the stick, but just the plant. And just kind of just swirled it around a little bit. And now we can shove the plant down into the little head here. Okay. And it looks like I might need to sit something on top of this stick once we get everything in there, because it wants to poke up. We don't want it to poke up. I'm just making sure we get it all the way down there. Kind of off in this corner. We'll leave it like that for now. And then we'll place our little sea chest here. And I think I did that by scooching the shark a tiny bit. It's a little crowded, but I think we'll be okay. And I'll end up putting something on top of this, but let's go ahead and start filling. And I'm going to fill down by the tail because it can run down into the mold without adding bubbles. If you're pouring into something deep, you typically want to pour down a stick. You don't want to pour from way up high. You just kind of want to just pour down your stick, or pour, like I'm pouring down the edge of the mold. And I don't want to go above what we decided our water line was going to be, which is right below this rim line. And it's going into the little flippers now. So we're getting there. And I think, okay, I think we're good there. I'm gonna see, what can I put on here? Maybe I'll sit the wedge on top. So before we get into that, and I leave you for now, so basically the reason why you want to use, for all of you that are new to resin, now old pros know this, so you know, you can fast forward through this if you don't want to listen to me. So the reason why you use deep pour for this kind of project is because of how much we poured in. What can happen is if you put resin as it cures, creates a lot of heat. It has a, call it exothermic reaction, creates a lot of heat. So what can happen is resin will overheat and it'll start actually smoking and bubbling. Like normal resin will smoke and bubble because it gets really hot pretty fast, especially in this quantity. It gets pretty hot pretty fast, and then it can cause, like, you can damage your mold, you'll damage your piece. It puts out a lot of vapors, and it puts out like some smoke, and it just can ruin your whole day pretty much. It's happened to me a few times. So that's why you choose the right resin for the right project. Now if we were doing this in like little layers, like layer by layer by layer by layer, it wouldn't matter as much because we're not pouring so much and we're not pouring so deep. But because of this little seal guy, I wanted to pour it in one swoop because I want him to have like no lines or anything, or any chance of any lines between all these things that that's why we're using deep pour. Now deep pour, it does take about 3 days to cure. I'm not going to put it on a heat mat because that's why we're using deep pour, so it doesn't heat up so fast so much. So we're gonna leave it just like this, and we're going to let it do its thing. It takes a little longer, but it doesn't create as much heat, and therefore you're able to pour a lot deeper. And I might have just repeated myself, but you guys get what I mean. And I'm gonna set this on top so that way it keeps our plant in place, because I want it to be level with the bottom. I don't want anything sticking up, so our little seal sits the way he should. And then what I'm gonna do is put this off to the side, and looks like I need to find something to put our remnants in here. So I'm gonna go find another mold, and we'll have some fun. Maybe, I don't know, maybe make a light bulb or a pyramid or something. I'll go find something. You guys will see it on demold. I'll see you back when this is we're ready to do our bottom ocean floor layer. So I'll see you guys back in a few. Bye. Now let's get on to the main course here. That was just the appetizer. Let's do the main course. So for my extras that I had, I pulled out this crystal mold, and I put some of our deep pour. I made it more blue and like a sapphire, and then I put it into this crystal mold, and then I found my light bulb mold, so I put some in there too, and we're going to top those off. And then I went ahead and popped the sticks off of here. Really all I did was hold it down and it popped right off. So, and then the underneath was a little sticky, so I hit it with a little UV light just to harden them up, because I didn't want to get my hands or whatever sticky. So that's where we're at with our project. And now we're going to put on our bottom ocean floor layer. And like I said, I need to go back to the beach and get some more sand, but I thought let's do something a little different instead. Get my gloves on. So I pulled out these beads and I thought, nah, maybe not. I think it'll blend too much with the water. So instead I pulled out my box of shells and stuff, and I have these little stones. They're like little pieces of jasper, and I have pieces of tiger eye, and I thought let's make our ocean floor out of this instead. That would be different. And let's see, I have lots, like different size tiger eye and different size little stones. And then I also have our go-to shells, which we can put a couple of those in too. And I thought we can make our seafloor out of that, and I can also pour them. I'll pour them into this, and then I'll try to keep this one clear, because I do want to put a little light bulb or a LED light onto this one. But this one, it can be brown at the bottom, like it was attached to a rock or something. That would be kind of cool. So what I did already, ooh, and this is getting warm, is I mixed up some Let's Resin 4-hour fast cure. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and layer these stones down into our seafloor. The tiger eye might actually be a little too big. We didn't leave a whole lot of room. Oh. I mean, I don't want just one random piece of tiger eye. That would be kind of weird. Well, let's see if we can find some small ones to get in here. Kind of cuboid piece. Some piece over there maybe. Piece over there. This is kind of thin here, so I don't want to go too much into here with the tiger eye, because I don't think I have any that's that thin. They all in the box, because I got these from Hobby Lobby, and they all come in like these chunks, but every once in a while you do find a little small piece, so we'll incorporate those as we find them. And I'm just placing carefully just covering the bottom. Not too crazy. I'm not shoving them down in here or anything. And just these little stones to be little space fillers in between. Okay. All right. And now we can pour our resin into here. And I'm not putting any color into this. I'm letting the stones kind of take the show. Pouring slowly. I've already put this resin through the bubble remover, even though I may have not have needed to, but decided it was probably a good idea. So put those in there. And get some back here in this flipper. Okay. Now these little stones are beads, so we may get a few bubbles come up. The tiger eye is not, but the little small stones are. They're beads, so they actually have holes in them, which sometimes can give you bubbles. So I'm just being mindful of that. Making sure we get a good coating on this. And at least we won't have to wait 2 more days for this to cure. That was a long haul. I came out and checked it several times and it just wasn't quite cured enough to be able to do this next step. So I didn't want to take any chances. And I am getting a couple of bubbles coming up from these beads. But it's okay. That's what we wanted. One got away. Oh no. Get in there. All right. And we got a little bubble coming up from the bead there. All right. So we're going to let that sit for a little bit and see what kind of bubbles we get out of it. I'll give it an alcohol spritz. It's the bottom, so that's okay. We can do that. It's not going to hurt anything. And then for this one, I wanted to see how many tiger eyes I could get into here. I don't want it to look like a tile mosaic though. Oh, it's way too big. Just digging around for small ones. I'm gonna have to do a project that takes big tiger eyes in order to get rid of some of these. Put a couple of these little stones in here too. Kind of like we chipped this crystal off of a rock or something. I don't know, that's the idea anyway. Okay, and I'm gonna have lots of leftover resin. The rocks took up a lot more space. So, slowly letting it fill. This resin, of course, is a lot thicker, so okay. One more little drip. And we'll spritz and set this one off to the side. Yeah, the deep pour resin is fully cured. We could have demolded if we were done, so that's good. So as soon as this 4-hour cures, we could finish these up. And it looks like I'm gonna might have enough to do an octopi. Oh, what should we put inside our octopus? Hey everybody, so we're back, and we're gonna get our little seal unmolded, and I already got the light bulb and the crystal unmolded. So I'll get us a cool light to shine through these on the next round, and we'll see what these look like all lit up, because that should be pretty cool. So okay, I'm gonna fast forward you, and let's get this unmolded.
Soft waves kiss the shore at twilight. Birds sing in the cool, sweet breeze.
All right, so there we go. There's our seal, and you saw me spray water down the mold to get it out. That really helps. Water, soapy water. I'm hesitant to put alcohol down the mold because sometimes it can mar the surface, so I don't like doing that if I don't have to. But there we have it, and we'll get a light and get these under a light, and I'll show you, so hang tight. I'll be right back with that light. Bye now. All right guys, so we're back. Sorry about that. And I went ahead and I got our little pieces demolded, and I wanted to show you guys what this looks like all lit up under the light base. It's so cute. So let me see if I can turn off an upper light. There we go. So hopefully that comes out. So there's our seal all in the light there, and our treasure chest. So there we go. And then let me turn this off so I don't blind you all. Here's our crystal. That's how that came out. Very pretty. Let me see if I can turn off this upper light. There you go. So there's the crystal all lit up. I'm going to take you off of the stand here. So there's our little crystal. And then our octopus. And I'll show you the octopus in the daylight too, in the normal light. But that's him all lit up. And there's our baby seal. And there's our treasure chest in there. And there's the other side with the shark swimming up his head. And the light bulb is just a light bulb. It's just blue. I didn't really put anything in it or anything, so it's just blue. But that's that one. I'm probably gonna, this thing has attachments that you can add. It makes it look like an actual light bulb, and I'll probably add that to it, and just something fun. I'll probably do it as a giveaway or something. I'm gonna turn the light back on. And so that is all of our pieces, and I promised I would show you the octopus in the normal light. There we are. So he's very cool. He came out really good. And there's our crystals in normal light. And I put the rocks on the bottom, so you can see there's the rocks. And light bulb is just a light bulb. I'm not even going to show you guys that one anymore. And our baby seal in normal light. Now the baby seal really comes out if you have him like in a window where the sun comes in on him. He's was really pretty. This is the second one I've made. The first one now lives in Idaho. So, but during the daylight, it's super cool to see the light shine through his head. Let me see if I can somehow do this. That's not really helping, is it? Let's do this. Yeah. Well, kinda. Ah. So, it's hard to tell. There he is. Being dark outside, that's as much daylight as we're gonna get tonight. And I'm probably gonna give him a little face too. He needs a face, I think. There we go. Alrighty. So I've drug you through enough of those shenanigans. So I thank you guys so much for checking in with me this go around. And I appreciate you all being here. Thank you. And to those of you who've hit the like button and subscribed, I appreciate you more than you could possibly know. Also, if you want, you can check out my eBay store down in the description below. And until next time, bye from the Emerald Coast. Take care. Have a blessed day. Bye now.
By the Emerald Coast, where dolphins play.